Let's bow our heads in prayer. Father, we thank you for the opportunity, and we really do thank you for this chance to come together in a place where we can discuss how to better our schools for our children and our community. We thank you that we don't have to lean on our own understanding, but in all thy ways acknowledge you, and you'll direct our paths. So we humbly come here tonight and asking for divine wisdom, direction, and strength so that we do not operate on our own. I know, Father, that a lot of decisions that are made in this room are made, and they're difficult decisions that are made. But we know, Lord, that we can come to you. And we pray, Lord, that when we come to you, we're humble enough to receive direction from you. Your word is the source of all that is true. And we thank you, Lord, for your scripture, for wisdom, and for your sovereignty. In the name of Jesus Christ, I pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, came through the night, that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
You may now be seated.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Valerie Martinez, and I'm here to provide interpretation services in Spanish. Mi nombre es la señora Valerie Martinez y estoy aquí para proveer interpretación en español.
Ms. Brown for our mission statement.
The mission of Osceola County Public Schools, inspiring all learners to reach their highest potential as responsible, productive citizens.
At this time, we'll start with positive comments from the superintendent and the board. Vice Chair Terry Castillo, would you have any positive comments?
I do, thank you, Chair. I was with you this Saturday judging the Incubate debate at Florida Southern College. So once again, I was really glad to participate in that event and witness students who are so well prepared and poised. And we actually had some students from Osceola this time in my room, so I was very glad to see them there. And on Saturday, I will be participating in the African American reading. I'm actually going to be one of the folks reading. This event is going to be taking place at the Civic Center from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and I encourage the community to come by and see people reading some incredible books. That's all I have. Thank you.
Mr. Arguello?
Yeah, I'd like to thank all of our students who are participating in the fair. We have hundreds and hundreds of pieces of art that have been submitted There's hundreds of animals from students from the 4-H and FFA, just plants, our carpentry people, students from Poinciana High School that submitted carpentry. There's just so much display of talent at the fair. I would encourage you, all of you, to go to the fair and support our students who have participated. I'd also like to thank all of the teachers. While I was at the fair, I had many teachers that came and spoke to me, and you'd be surprised how many issues are just solidly community issues, nonpartisan concerns from the community. It's something that we all share. Please come out and visit me at the fair. I'd love to speak with you and meet you. I wanted to thank, and this is going to sound odd, but Mayor Bill de Blasio of New York, who I participated in the debate with last night. It was maybe not as competitive as the kids who were showing their animals and the judging of those goats, but nonetheless, it was pretty spirited and it was fun, and I appreciate those. Our colleague, Alicia Ferrant from Orange County, and Tiffany Justice of Moms for Liberty, everyone who was there was a good sport, and it was done with positive intentions, and again, a lot more in common than dividing us. I'd also like to congratulate the Celebration soccer team, who we haven't had a meeting since, but my nephew Matthew plays on Celebration, and they had a very successful season, and I just wanted to congratulate them. And then lastly, February is my favorite month of the year. On February 3rd, I celebrated my wedding anniversary to my wife, Nicole. Nicole, I love you, happy anniversary. And then her birthday on the 7th, right? What better gift than me to my wife for the... Thank you for understanding that sarcasm. And then my son's birthday on the 10th of February. Happy birthday, Hallow, I love you. And just so many reasons for me to be grateful. I am truly blessed by God throughout the month of February, so thank you very much.
Mr. Witness?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to give an update on the Build-A-Bill. The St. Cloud Middle School created a bill to require AED training in the different high schools, and we're hearing that it's on the Senate floor now. So it did pass the State House of Representatives, and so I would even like to see if maybe we can even do a resolution that if it passes, we would like for the governor to actually sign the bill here. Because, it's tough to get the students to drive all the way to Tallahassee and, go on the Senate floor, but the governor can choose to sign the bill wherever he chooses to want to go. So I just think that maybe, I know this is board member comment, it's not an action item, maybe later on in the new business, if we can bring it up in the future, that if this bill does come into law, these students took the time to write it, and they were the authors of it. So I just think it would be so amazing to have the governor come down to St. Cloud Middle School and actually sign the bill into law and honor the kids that helped, be the genesis of that. And speaking on that, we went to Ole, Dr. Shainoff and a couple other board members, we went over there and, and it's a difficult environment because Tallahassee is mixed. But, I think a lot of people are open to what our concerns are. The school district is not alone. There's a lot of, there's a Florida School Board Association where the other board members went the week prior. And so there's a big concerted effort to try to make sure that education is at the forefront of the members in Tallahassee. So that is something that we look at not only, the benefit of OLA, because sometimes that comes across, is the fact that we meet as a group. The city of Kissimmee, the city of St. Cloud, and Osceola County all go there together, and it's an opportunity to kind of get to know them too, because I think too many times we look at it as the county's over here, the school district's over there, so it's nice to kind of fellowship with them and kind of let them know, hey, these are the important things that are to us. So it's not just a matter of going to Tallahassee, it's a matter of going to Tallahassee as a unit, and that's why it's called the Osceola Legislative Effort. Also want to congratulate some of the other board members that went to the Chamber of Commerce. They had their 99th annual anniversary dinner, and it's going to be 100 pretty soon. I can't believe it's been that long they've been in existence. But I think it's important, and I think the board members can echo, that we really need to be a part of that economic development, because businesses can't thrive without an educated labor force. And so I think it's important that the Chamber of Commerce sees the school district working together to make sure that students have internships and other programs after they graduate from high school and be prepared for the jobs of tomorrow. So I really want to thank them for what they've done. And, and also the Acton Academy. And at first, I didn't know if I wanted to recognize them because they're a private school, but it doesn't matter. Mr. Arguello and I were both judges. Commissioner Cheryl agreed. These were students talking about politics and civics and engagement. And so we saw some wonderful kids that are there. And I just want to thank them for inviting us. Again, they're a private school, but they're still students and we love them all. And so we really appreciate that. And then the last thing is a kind of a somber note, but it's kind of exciting to a certain degree. There was something controversial writing prompt, because a lot of times people come here and saying, hey, sometimes there's something in schools that doesn't belong, and we discovered something. And to be honest with you, I spoke with Dr. Shanoff, I spoke with Dr. Clayton, we spoke with the principal, and we got it resolved. So I just want everyone to know that whenever we find controversial material in a textbook, and it wasn't even in a textbook, it was in a curriculum item that wasn't approved. So it went rogue, and without going into full details, the point is we found it, we addressed it, and we took care of it. So I want everyone in the community to know that we in the school district, we are going to apply the state standards faithfully, and if we do see something, say something. Because we're a big district, I'm just being honest. We can't find every single thing that happens, in our schools every 2 seconds. We are dependent on the community to let us know how we are doing, and if there's something that comes up short, this staff is gonna take you seriously and address the issue, and they did. So kudos to you, Dr. Shanoff. I know it's not exactly a positive comment, but it's a positive comment because we're faithfully executing the laws of the state of Florida and making sure we're sticking to the curriculum that we're supposed to. That, adjourned. Thank you.
Dr. Channel?
Yeah, thank you. So, 2 things. First of all, Neptune Elementary School teacher, Ms. Jocelyn Gomez, has been awarded the Helen Pouch Memorial Fund Classroom Grant from the National Society Daughters of the American Revolution in the amount of $500. Ms. Gomez will utilize these funds towards her project, which is geared towards implementing a school-wide mentoring program to help in building identified students' positive behavior, self-confidence and esteem, improve academic motivation, attendance, and achievement. Students that are identified as having a need in these areas will be paired with a peer or adult mentor. Student mentors will be growing their leadership skills and developing the leader in me traits that are being taught school-wide. It's a very positive progress over there at Neptune Elementary. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that over the winter break, we were encouraging our students to stay engaged with the academic areas of reading and math through participation in the SDOC Winter Challenge. The top students from each participating school for each subject, math and ELA, work to stay engaged and also earn tickets to Disney. Elementary school students were challenged to complete units in Lexia and lessons in Dreambox. The top 3 students using Lexia and the top 3 students completing lessons in Dreambox have been named to earn the Disney tickets. Middle and high schools were challenged to complete articles in the Achieve 3000 platform, earning a 75% or more on their first attempt, and middle school math students were challenged to complete topics in ALEX. The top 3 students in each participating middle and high school were Achieve 3000, and the top 3 students completing topics in ALEX for math have been named to earn the Disney tickets as well. So in summary, we have a total of 174 elementary student winners, and we have we have 72 middle school students and 14 high school student winners. So we have a total of 260 winners in all. Really a great effort by everybody, so thank you so much.
That's awesome.
A lot of the things I was going to say were already set up here, so I echo the messages from my fellow board members and the superintendent. One other thing I'd like to note is a message went out from Dr. Shanoff at the beginning of the week on Monday, a video message just encouraging everyone, we know that it's the second half of the year. This is when things get busy, the time crunch is on for the countdown to the end of the school year, but we appreciate everyone being at school every day, our teachers, our staff, our bus drivers showing up. It's important to get those students to and from school safely. Every single person matters when it comes to making sure we provide that quality education to our students. So I just want to echo the message that Dr. Shanoff gave, that we just want to do what's best for our kids, and I hope that all of you will show up and do that with us every single day. With that, we're moving on to presentations. First up, we have Osceola High School Work to School Partnership, Mr. Martinez.
How you doing? My name is Mr. Martinez. I am a teacher I'm the transition teacher over at Osceola High School. Teach my students how to do work skills, life skills, those kinds of things. And I had gotten a reward, well, my school got a reward from the city of Kissimmee, just saying how appreciative they are of what we do in the community and all of the cleaning and all of the landscaping and the things that me and my kids do. I actually have some of my kids here who I actually wanted to bring up here. Calvin, come on up. Calvin, my friend, Elias. Bryce. Steady. And I believe that is all of the guys. So, what do I have? One more. Valerie. Come here, Valerie. I didn't even see you come in, girl.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I truly love what I do. I wouldn't do anything else. It's truly a blessing what it is that I do. Mr. Rod Barganier, he's the one who I have this partnership with. Gives me all the tools and things that I need in order to get all my job done and my students done. And let me let him say a couple things.
Good evening. On behalf of the city of Kissimmee, we want to thank the school district for allowing this partnership. This partnership is not only important to Osceola High School and the students that participate in it, but it is important to the city of Kissimmee as well. And we are committed to making this a great partnership for years to come.
Thank you. Turn around. Okay, go ahead, bro. All done. Good job, guys. Thank you.
Next up, we have the CTE proclamation by Mr. Burdett from our CTE department. And we have the amazing students outside ahead of this, so it's awesome to have.
Absolutely. Thank you, board, and Dr. Shanoff and cabinet. I appreciate you having us here. And Mr. Guello, I said February was your month. It actually is CTE's month. But every month belongs to CTE because if you drive a car, live in a house, turn on your lights, flush your toilets, it's because someone was trained by CTE to make that happen. Career and Technical Ed Month is a public awareness campaign that takes place each February to celebrate the value of CTE and the achievements and accomplishments of the CTE programs across the country. To honor CTE programs, the National Association of Career and Technical Education issued a proclamation observed February 2024 as Career and Technical Education Month, and this was also recognized by the governor. For the year of 23-24 school year to date, OTEC has 369 enrolled post-secondary students, with 510 being scheduled in 27 courses within 24 programs amongst all three of our campuses. K-12, this is astonishing. We have 18,043 students enrolled in a CTE program. 2,498 of these students are total program enrollment because some of them are enrolled in two programs. We have 277 courses, 97 different programs, at 33 schools, 10 high schools, 12 middle schools, and 6 charters, 1 virtual, and 4 multi-level schools. Celebrating with us tonight in the lobby was the health science St. Cloud High School students with the teacher Shannon Hudson, culinary arts at Toho High School with teacher Alexandra Serrano Delgado, and digital at Toho with Jenny Mojas. We have Jenny Mojas' students here as well, and is going to read the proclamation. We have Tanisha Acevedo. Tanisha has already been accepted into the National Adobe competition in 2024. And by the way, if you remember, a few years ago, we had the world champion.
Yes.
Hannah Forbes. Hannah's placed in the top 20 in the country in July 2023 in the national competition, and she also won Best in Show at the Graphic Design Industry Florida Print Awards in August 2023. And listen, she went up against people that do it for the newspaper, for Time Magazine, if Time Magazine ever exists anymore. All the magazines that are still out there. And digital design is Brendan Mendonca. Sorry. Brendan has already qualified for the U.S. National Adobe competition as well.
Whereas the month of February 2024 has been designated Career and Technical Education Month by the Association of Career and Technical Education. And whereas CTE offers students the opportunity to gain the academic, technical, and employability skills necessary for career readiness. And whereas students in CTE programs participate in authentic, meaningful experiences that improve the quality of their education and increase their engagement and achievement.
Whereas CTE provides students with career exploration opportunities earlier in their educational experience, which enables them to make informed and beneficial decisions about their academic coursework and pursue established programs of study and career pathways. And whereas leaders from business and industry nationwide report increasing challenges related to addressing the skill gap and connecting qualified professionals with careers in critical and growing CTE-related fields, such as the advanced manufacturing, cybersecurity, energy, healthcare, information technology, and transportation.
Whereas CTE prepares students for these and other fulfilling careers by offering integrated programs of study that link secondary and post-secondary education and lead to the attainment of industry-recognized credentials. And whereas CTE programs ensure that employers have access to a qualified and thriving workforce, ensuring our nation is a strong and competitive economy. Now, therefore, the School District of Osceola County proclaims February 2024 as Career and Technical Education Month.
So moved.
Second. A motion by Mr. Arguello, second by Vice Chair Castillo. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. It's CTE month. Next up, we have our proclamation for Black History Month by Tia Tasha Brown, Director of High School Curriculum.
Thank you, board members, superintendent, and staff. Proclamation for Black History Heritage Month, February 1st through February 29th, 2024. Whereas February has been nationally designated as a time to recognize and celebrate the contributions of African Americans to our nation's culture and history. Whereas it is important to understand the different origins, culture, and heritage of all Americans. Whereas it is appropriate that all citizens reflect upon, cherish, and sustain the contributions that Black individuals, both past and present, have made to our nation. Dr. Martin Luther King, Maya Angelou, Lou Gossett Jr., Rosa Parks, Thurgood Marshall, Fannie Lou Hamer, Ben Carson, Melba Roy, Mae Jemison, George Washington Carver, and many more. Whereas such creative individuals have given of their very best so that we may be sustained and inspired during hard times and encouraged to celebrate and rejoice during happy times. Now therefore be it resolved that the School District of Osceola County, Florida does hereby proclaim February as Black History Month.
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Vice Chair Castillo, a second by Mr. Arguello. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. National Black
Thank you. At this, sorry.
Go ahead. Oh, you have something?
Yes.
You're announcing.
At this time, our fine arts moment, please welcome our Poinciana Chorus who will sing Lift Every Voice and Sing.
Lift every voice and sing, till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory is won.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First appointment this evening for your consideration is Ivana Garcia, Coordinator of Multicultural Education. Ivana Garcia has held the following positions: School-Based ESOL Compliance Educational Specialist at Poinciana Academy of Fine Arts, St. Cloud High School, Den John Middle, Michigan Ave Elementary, Harmony High, Harmony Community, World Language Teacher at Paths, ESOL Compliance Specialist for Charter Schools K-12, ESOL Program Specialist for Secondary Schools, and Immigrant Resource Teacher. She earned her bachelor's degree in English language from the Universidad de La Habana in Cuba, and a master's degree in educational leadership from Nova Southeastern University.
So moved. Second.
A motion by Mr. Arguello, second by Mr. Melendez. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Congratulations.
I would like to thank Dr. Shanoff, all the members of the board and our district leadership team for this new opportunity to lead the Multicultural Education Department as their coordinator. A special thank you to Dr. Reyes, Dr. Peñalosa, Dr. Long, Mrs. Martinez. They saw in me the passion to grow as a professional and as a person, my desire to guide and to help others. Thank you so much for providing opportunities for me to learn and to prepare. More than anything, thank you so much for believing in me. Thank you to Ms. Michelle Henninger and Ms. Debbie Ohms for always making me feel so welcome. I have learned so much from you during the time that we have worked together. I also must say thank you to Dr. Kennedy, the principal of the first school I worked at and who gave me the opportunity to develop as an ESOL educational specialist, being a new teacher, new to the educational system, and even new to the country. I would also love to mention my two beautiful babies, Bonita and Javi, who are here with me today. Thank you for always cheering for me, for giving me the courage and strength I needed to go on, for making me feel like I were the best mother in the world. You are my rock, and I love you so much. Last but not least, thank you to my work family, the MED team, a group of amazing professionals who are passionate about making a difference in the life of so many children every day. I hope that they accept me as their coordinator. I feel blessed for having had the opportunity to support the ELL and the immigrant population for the last 22 years. I have loved my life, and I know that I have enjoyed these years because of what I do every day when I come to work. I am committed to give my all, and I hope to make you proud. Thank you so much.
The next appointment for your consideration is Robert Dombo as Principal of Adult Learning Center Osceola, otherwise known as ALCO. Robert Dombo has held the following positions: Product Manager, Research Market Division for Thermo Fisher Scientific, Teacher at Kissimmee Middle, Teacher at St. Cloud High, Dean at PATS, Assistant Principal for OTEC, and Assistant Principal at St. Cloud High School. He received his bachelor's degree in chemistry from the University of West Florida and a master's degree in educational leadership from Stetson University.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Aguayo, second by Mr. Melendez. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Board. Dr. Shanoff, Dr. Allen, thank you so much for your encouragement these past few weeks. If you live in Osceola County, which we all do, you realize that there is a gap between our staffing needs and the ability for our constituents to meet the needs of our employers. It's my intention to leverage ALCO to meet those needs by ensuring that all of our students are career ready and can go out and earn a living wage. Thank you so much, Tim Burdett, for encouraging me and giving me the confidence to take this position. Thank you so much to my lovely wife who's here in attendance. She is my true encouragement on a daily basis every morning. I am so proud to have this position, and I will do my best each and every day for our students. Thank you.
The next appointment for your consideration will be Ana Gonzalez to be Assistant Principal at Flora Ridge Elementary. Ana Gonzalez has held the following positions: Teacher at Flora Ridge Elementary and Reedy Creek Elementary, and Dean of Students at Flora Ridge Elementary. She received her bachelor's degree in criminology from Barry University. Look out. And a master's degree in educational leadership from Western Governors University.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Aguayo, second by Vice Chair Castillo. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Congratulations.
I would like to thank Dr. Shanoff, his team, and the school board members for this opportunity. I would also like to thank all those that have been part of my journey, especially Mr. Sasek, Ms. Merritt, and Ms. Nicholson. You've provided me with the opportunities to flourish and grow. To my family and friends, thank you for always supporting me on all my endeavors. To my Phoenix family, big and small, I am humbled by your support. Thank you for believing in me. Words cannot express my gratitude. I'm excited to continue our journey together and continue to nourish the young hearts and minds of our students. Thank you once again to all, and fly Phoenix.
The last appointment for your approval this evening will be David Kane, Assistant Principal at Kissimmee Elementary. David Kane has held the following positions: third grade teacher at Kissimmee Elementary, Dean of Students, Intervention Specialist at Kissimmee Elementary, Assistant Principal at Thacker Elementary, Intervention Specialist, Restorative Coach, PBIS Coordinator, Teacher Mentor, and Testing Coordinator at Kissimmee Elementary. He earned his bachelor's degree in elementary education from Susquehanna University, master's degree in curriculum and instruction from National Louis University, and an educational specialist degree in educational leadership from National Louis University.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Vice Chair Castillo, second by Mr. Aguayo. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Congratulations.
I don't know why I clapped too, but I was going to. But I do want to thank Dr. Shanoff and his lead team, and then also, of course, the board. But mostly I want to thank God because he opened the door again. This is pretty bittersweet because in order for there to be a door open, that means somebody else had to move forward. And so with Ms. Terry moving up, that's awesome. But last 2 board meetings ago, we lost Mr. D. Wright. Not lost him, but going to open up the new school. So it's a good thing. I've been in the county now this is going on my 21st year. And the majority of it was at this specific school. So to me, this is extra special because now I can lead it. So again, I want to thank you for allowing me to be able to do it and do it with Ms. Terry, and we're going to move forward, and I know we're going to make you proud.
At this time, if you were here for any of the special presentations and would like to leave, this is your chance.
Oh, yes. Stop it. No, that was before you. Yeah.
It is
That
Fat
is
Tuesday.
well, that is well. Also Fat Tuesday.
All right. Dr. Shanoff, do we have any agenda modifications?
No, Madam Chair.
Mr. Melendez, any?
1202 and 1310.
Mr. Aguayo?
9.08, 11.02, 13.01, 13.11. You just said 13.10, right? Yes. Yeah, 13.0.
Ms. Castillo? 8.05, comment? You? I have no additional. With that, is there a motion to adopt the amended agenda?
So moved.
Second. Motion by Mr. Aguayo, second by Vice Chair Castillo. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? With that, can we get a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented? That's a comment, 805 is on the consent. Sorry. Go ahead, Shane.
Yes, so I'm in favor of the approval resolution of the charter school contract renewals. I just wanted to publicly thank Dr. Lasenia Peñalosa. I asked for a lot of data, and you were able to provide that for me immediately, so I really appreciate that. I had some concerns about one of those schools, specifically Main Street High School. However, Dr. Peñalosa backed up with data how much their graduation rate has improved under new management. And with that, I am in favor of approving this item.
You see my light, Madam Chair?
Oh,
I don't know if it's technical working or not.
It is working, yes, thank you. So that's a comment on
805.
805 as well?
Yes, Madam Chair. I also want to thank Main Street as well, because it's a very challenging school, because a lot of times, seniors will come in there at the last year, so it's very difficult for them to meet those guidelines of graduating them perfectly every single time. If they had A students coming in, then you could probably get a higher filter. But these are students that were, not thinking about even going back to school again at all. So the fact that they're trying to capture somebody with an alternative measure or alternative means to educate them is, to me, a valiant effort. And I just want to make sure that they're not exactly apples to apples comparison, Main Street to the traditional schools, because they are focused on dropout prevention, preventing kids from, or allowing them to try to walk the stage. So I do appreciate Main Street for that.
Do we have a
Motion approved.
Second, my motion is second.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Motion by Ms. Castillo, second by Mr. Melendez. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. 9.08, Mr. Arguello.
Yes, so when you look at this, it's all fine and good, except that there was a local, this is a renewal for the contract, and but when you look at the bids, the original bids, there was a local company, and the difference between the local company and the company based further away, there was a $70 difference. So for $70, we could have chosen the company that is here in St. Cloud, kept that money here. My vote is to allow this to go back out to bid and allow this local company to bid on it, and because they would have won with the preference that we now have in effect.
9.08?
Is this aquatic weed
That's
control?
Hastings, yes,
Yes.
Hastings, Florida.
Yes.
So, okay, so you're not in favor of that?
Well, there's one in St. Cloud. So there was a company in St. Cloud, and
I think the answer.
they're very competitive with one another. If you look at the contract, they're very competitive, and there's a $70 difference. So if they had bid for it today, they would have won. So what I'm requesting is that we allow this to go back out to bid so that this company may have the opportunity, this local company may have the opportunity to bid on it and win, which they would if everything were the same.
Mr. Melendez, you're recognized.
I can appreciate Mr. Arguello's argument, or discussion, it's not necessarily an argument. But aquatic weed control, is that for the water retention on site that we have at the schools, or?
Yes, sir. They maintain the retention ponds from being overgrown.
Correct. I guess in the future, well, it kind of depends, because I've seen some subdivisions, when they develop, they'll deed the land to the county and they get to maintain it. Is there no way, for the future, not so much for this, but so are we forced to take on those retention ponds, or can we ever try to do something like some private developers do? And that way, the water doesn't mean anything to us, but they can maintain it.
So as part of our pad ready sites, as we buy new sites, we don't have any retention pond. We put that in the agreement for the developer. But on our greenfield sites that we buy, then we're obligated to keeping our water on site. So you would find at Knightsbridge we have a retention pond, but at Sunbridge we don't. It's just that as long as you have a greenfield site, you don't have somewhere to put your water. You have to, by state law, keep it on your site. But when we're buying pad ready sites, we put it in the developer's agreement for them to take the water off us.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, that was a separate argument, total discussions, I apologize. But I guess what does the rest of the board think about Mr. Arguello's proposal?
So I have a question in regards to something Mr. Arguello stated. You stated with our new policy, is that what you mentioned?
Yes.
So they would have earned extra points being local. Was this done on a previous score sheet?
This was 3 years ago. This is
So
just
because
a
of the
one-year
renewal,
renewal.
the renewal.
I did check with purchasing today. If you guys want us to not do the renewal and go out for bid, we can do that. There's no guarantee what anybody's gonna bid at this point. But yeah, it's not a problem if we wanna just do a new
And these
bid.
are their previous prices from
Previous
3 years ago.
prices from 3 years ago.
Absolutely. then I'm in favor of Mr. Aguirre's idea, then go ahead and not do the renewal and allow it to go open and give it the opportunity for small business to get the contract. But we can't guarantee it, but we just can allow, because this, again, proposal cost 3 years ago, they may be able to run a more efficient operation to be more competitive. So I wanna give that local vendor an opportunity, and I would be in favor of not renewing this and allow it to go out to bid.
It would have gone out to bid, open again next year then, if this is a one-year renewal.
Correct.
Correct. So members of the board, I don't want to speak for operations because maintenance typically uses this, but I think going out to bid now wouldn't really hurt us. Because it's maintaining of our retention ponds. It'll probably delay it by 2 months of being implemented. But we can certainly take our time and go back out. So
But the current contract's in place through July 1.
Through July.
We can
so
get a new bid in place
we do
by
have
then.
time to go back out.
So now motion to put this back out to bid.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Aguayo, a second by Mr. Melendez. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Aye.
I'm not opposed.
Motion passes 4-0.
We don't wait.
We are on to 11.0, or regular. Sorry. Mr. Aguayo?
11:01. You already said 11:02.
I don't have
11:02,
11:01.
yeah, 11:02. So, I just wanted to wish the St. Cloud High School cross-country team good luck. They're on their way to Gatlinburg to do a little bit of running. Be safe and good luck. With that, I'll motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Aguayo, second by Mr. Melendez. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you. Back to 11:01. I'm sorry, Terry.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Ms. Castillo, second on 11:01.
It's regular agenda. We took something out, we have to approve it individually.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Ms. Castillo, second by Mr. Aguayo. All those in favor?
Aye. Is this 13:01?
No, 11,
Oh,
regular.
11, okay, I'm sorry. That's
Sorry.
11:01, yes, sir.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. We are on to, so we go in order. 12.01. No, 11:03 was all.
We're on the regular.
Oh, we're on regular agenda, so we
Yes.
go 12.03. So motion approved 12.03.
No,
Someone
someone
to
pulled,
go on
you pulled 12.02.
Now you can go in order.
But he pulled
Oh,
12.02.
12.02 was
So
pulled.
12.01.
Motion to approve 12.01.
Second. Oh,
Motion by Ms. Castillo, second by Mr. Melendez. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. 12.02, Mr. Melendez, you're recognized.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to, this isn't anything serious. We talked about Reedy Creek being a former bomb shelter. And so I just want to kind of preserve something for history there. And so, obviously, I spoke with Mr. Sharma and Dr. Shinoff earlier, that site has to get completely renovated in order for it to get reconfigured properly. But I wanted some kind of memorial for that. I mean, that's pretty historical, the fact that one of our schools was a bomb shelter. If we can take pictures of it or take something like what we did with the Panther. When we renovated Gateway, we kept the original Panther and put it up there. I just think that'd be cool to kind of staff to think of something to memorialize the fact that we had a school district that had a bomb shelter and for kids to know their own history of their own county. So that's my motion to approve, but just kind of giving staff a little direction to kind of see if they can come up with something clever to honor the fact that it was a bomb shelter.
Motion by Mr. Melendez to approve 12.02.
Second.
Second by Ms. Castillo. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. 13.01, Mr. Mr. Aguayo.
13.01. Okay, so this is the approval of the hardening of our lobby. And so I don't object to the cost. I think that the cost is in line with everything else that we've done. I do have an objection to the conversion of our lobby from a place that families are welcome into a place that looks more like the DMV or tax collector. I'm not a fan of that. I'd like to see better ideas on how we can build a safe lobby for our employees that is also welcoming to the public as opposed to it looking like a secure facility. It's to me, it's just contrary to our mission and purpose, and it makes a statement that I'm not in favor of.
Thank you, Mr. Melendez, you're recognized.
And I do concur with Mr. Arguello, because I had done multiple site visits for new construction, and the footprint is just getting really small. So it's almost like it gives a negative impression that one family gets in there and that's it. Like, we want you in and out. So it doesn't really feel like inviting, especially the one at Wesleyan Park, or it used to be Sunbridge, so I used to call it that. You walk in and it's like bang, like all you got is like right there, and like there's not even 6 foot for like the person to do the front desk. I mean, if you figure the front desk, they gotta have at least dual monitors, a sign-in sheet, this and that, and maybe notices, about student behavior and things like that. And so I do concur with Mr. Arguello that they're just getting extremely small. And you get 2 families in there, they're on top of each other, and if you got families that sometimes, I have to say this, the reality is sometimes parents come in there not happy, and they're already at level 9. We want to try to create a de-escalating environment. So if you got a parent going in there getting ready to get riled up, and they already got no space to move, and they're on top of each other, it's not really conducive. So we still need secure lobbies, but I think that, maybe we should identify the prototype and kind of look at, creating a little bit more space and the rearrangement of that space.
Thank you. Dr. Shanoff, you're recognized.
So I don't think it's an apples to apples comparison when you look at the work that we're requesting for the front office here and what we've got at Sunbridge. We're not requesting that a new room be created, a wall be erected, anything of that nature. We have an obligation in all of our buildings to protect our staff. The unfortunate part of where we are as a society is that the idea of having open access is no longer safe for our folks. I understand that there are concerns about how inviting it may appear if we have a glass partition that is shatterproof, that allows us to keep our door open to the public, but we also have folks that work behind that desk that are spouses, that are parents, and I have concerns that we would not be protecting them in the same equitable fashion that we are protecting other folks at all of our other facilities. Therefore, our recommendation is that we move forward with creating the same level of security and safety for the folks that are there. The drawings have been shared with the board members. The drawings are very, very clear about maintaining the space that exists within the front, but providing an extra layer of protection for our most vulnerable folks that serve our population. Thank you.
Mr. Arguello, you're recognized.
Yeah, I can, of course, I'm all about protecting the people that work at the school district, but I don't want to get into a false dichotomy where it has to be the way that we're saying right now or no way. That's a false dichotomy. It may be good at scaring people, but it's not good at deriving a better plan, right? And I think that's kind of like our old way of thinking, where it had to be the way that we said at that moment and no other way was acceptable. And I just don't think that that's true. Our job as a school district is to serve the community first and foremost, before everything else. People make a decision to come and work where they work, right? We have a sheriff's deputy standing in the back. He signed up for his job. He does everything that he can for his job, right? He protects himself. They provide him with protection. I'm all about providing protection to everyone who works in the district. But regardless, we can't put priority B in front of priority A, which is to serve the public. And what we don't want is to create a wall, literally and figuratively, between the community and the district. And I think that we've already been doing that for the past 6 years. That has been the way we've done things here. And it's just something that I cannot vote for. We absolutely can come up with a different plan that does not isolate or put our priority of service behind the security of the personnel that we have in the front. There can be a better way to design and a better way to address security. You have to remember, the reason that we secure our schools is because we're responsible for those students, right? I mean, do we want to become a society where every building becomes a jailhouse? Because if you're afraid for something that may or may not happen, I don't think that that's a society that we want to live in. In the end, our job is to serve the public. That comes first and foremost. If the public is not asking for it, right, then we have to at least make an analysis of why we're doing it to begin with. And there's a better way. I think that there's a better way with some clever designing. This is kind of, in my opinion, just kind of a lazy way. We're gonna make it secure, we're gonna put a wall, right? And that doesn't benefit the public. It's not being good stewards of our duties. Maybe good stewards of the finances, but not good stewards of the duty that we have.
Mr. Melendez, you're recognized.
Thank you. I was specifically referring to the entryways of the schools themselves, and I had spoken with Mr. Sharma before, and they had acknowledged that, I think with Brian from Design and Construction. So moving forward, we're gonna try to modify the prototype to be more inviting. As far as this specific lobby area, I moved to secure the lobby up front, and I need to make sure that our staff does feel safe. Because at the end of the day, I would like for them to do their job, and I want them to feel comfortable at doing their job. And so I'm in favor of the motion, and I motion to approve 13.1 as submitted.
Second. Thank you. We have a motion and a second. We do have one more. You're good. All right, motion by Mr. Melendez, a second by Vice Chair Castillo. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes 3-1.
Motion to approve 13.02.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Castillo, second by Mr. Melendez. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes.
Motion to approve 13.03.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Castillo to approve 1303, second by Mr. Melendez. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. 13.04.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Castillo, second by Mr. Melendez. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. 13.05.
Motion approved.
Second. Motion by Mr. Melendez, second by Vice Chair Castillo. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. 13.06.
Motion approved.
Motion by Mr. Melendez.
Second.
Second by Ms. Castillo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. 13.07.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Castillo, second by Mr. Melendez. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. 13.08.
Motion to approve.
Second with discussion.
Motion by Ms. Castillo, second by Mr. Melendez with discussion. Go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't pull that one, but
Oh,
now that I saw it. Yeah, because now this is the design for the new elementary school. I just want to double check that we look at the entryway, because I think this was the same architect that had designed the other one. I just want to confirm that, before it costs us money, before we're too far down the road to modify the plans. I just want to make sure that Mr. Sharma, if you can share with the board the new plans for the entryway, making sure that it meets the new specs.
I can certainly do that, sir.
Thank you. So I approve it. I'm second, if there's already a second.
We've got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. 13.09. Motion by Mr. Melendez, second by Vice Chair Castillo. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. 13.10.
Yes, as I'm speaking on this, are you speaking
You
on
can go
this?
ahead, Mr. Arbo, you go first.
Mr. Melendez brought it up originally, so Mr. Melendez, you're recognized.
Okay. This was the Lakeview property where we had a workshop, and one of the issues that this was a prior property that had been denied before by the city of St. Cloud. And one of the issues they had was a lack of stacking. Because right now, their issue is the vehicles, not being able to kind of go in and out. That's the whole issue of stacking. Is before school gets out and after school, before they, drop off and pick up. And so one of the ideas that we had spoke about during the workshop was to be able to retain a part of the property so that way we can ensure that parents can go in and out without a problem. And so I thought that was one of the conditions that we were gonna kind of move forward with. And so when I see these two proposals, they don't, only one of them shows that stacking as a possibility. So, and obviously it's against staff recommendation, but I just wanted to let everyone know that that was against kind of what we were discussing during the workshop. And so I'm really not in favor of not being able to alleviate the traffic concerns that the school may have. And the other issue too, being a real estate broker myself, when I look at offers, I would like to see both proposals have some form of financing note secured with it. In other words, a pre-approval letter, a bank letter, anybody can just write a letter and say, hey, I propose to buy this property, but do they have the financial backing or the ability to follow through with the process? And so I don't think the school district should be any different in the evaluation of their contracts. So again, I'm actually more in favor of the second one, which aligns with the idea of reducing the footprint of the development, allowing stacking so people could come in and out, but I want them to have like maybe a conditional approval that, if they can't secure financing commitment within 30 days, then it's done and we can rebid this because, I just don't want somebody bidding here, but, it's a false hope. I mean, I have realtors in here, I see one right now in the audience. She can probably understand that anybody can write an offer, but do they qualify? So I'm more leaning toward the second proposal that alleviates the stacking and that reduces the density and just making sure that they have a conditional approval. And if they can't obtain conditional approval within, say, 30 days, then they're out and we can rebid this out and allow somebody who has the means to be able to execute to do so.
Thank you, Mr. Egley, recognized.
So here's my issue with this item. When we spoke about this, we spoke about this during the workshop. It came up before a meeting before. It was rejected by the city. We spoke about it again at a separate workshop, and we spoke about it again at a meeting previous to that. Each time we had the discussion, one thing was mentioned, and that was to go to the community and find out what the community wanted to do with this excess land that the district has. We have not done that. So we're failing to do the most basic thing, which is talk to the community to just sell this land for development. I mean, it goes contrary to, which one of your constituents has said, would you please sell that for more development? Not one. But we have had many, many constituents and community members complain that they do not want these projects built on this property. So as people who are supposed to serve the community, we would be ignoring them and doing them a disservice by going against their wishes to do this. I think that we absolutely need to have a forum where we talk to the community, find out what's an acceptable project, what they would like in their backyards. And to fail to do that is, it's disrespectful and it's irresponsible in my opinion. And in regards to the concern that Mr. Melendez had, I'm not sure, I would imagine that they did provide funding, right, Rose? Yeah, of course, right? Yeah, I would imagine that nobody would say, I'd like to buy this for $5 million and then be broke, right? So, yeah, I imagine, because it's a good point, but I figured it would not be the case. I would be surprised by that. So I cannot in good conscience vote for this. The community has been very clear. They said don't do this, so I'm gonna obey my oath and not vote for this.
May I ask a question of staff in regards to the stacking issue? During our conversations, I thought there was discussion that the access road to is it that road that would help alleviate our issues around the school? With the Starlight.
You want to?
Yeah, sure. Is it okay if I come up?
Please.
I just changed my name because I got married, so I don't know which one it is. Jill Rose, real estate broker for the school district. So in terms of the stacking and queuing for the Starlight Ashton Woods project, they were creating a new road that would connect Columbia to Robinson to help alleviate road connectivity, make it a little better, and then also improve Robinson, add parallel parking spaces on both streets, the new road and Robinson, so parents could use those, as well as the revenue from the sale of all 25 acres was going to go towards improving Lakeview Elementary stacking and queuing problems. So that's how that was going to fix that. Are there any more questions on anything?
In the future, can you put then the entire offer in the agenda? Because, as Mr. Aguero said, well, it's there, but then it needs to be packaged together.
Yeah.
The entire offer, so we can see what people had submitted.
I believe the agenda had both offers and a pretty extensive narrative going back to 2019 when we first started talking about this property. And it did go through all the workshops we had together and what was discussed. And so that's all in there.
No, I'm talking about the original documents that they used to submit the offer. Their pre-approval letters, the actual, when they submit the offer letter.
Yeah, this is a letter of intent, but I mean, we weren't gonna ask Ashton Woods for a proof of funds letter. I mean, maybe the other buyer, but not Ashton Woods. And that wasn't part of the RFP originally when we went out to sell the property. So that is something we can do in the future, if that's something you wanna see, for sure.
Madam Chair, not really for her, the other thing for the rest of the board to note is, again, the city of St. Cloud had rejected this before. I'm trying to do my best to reduce the footprint, knowing that development's gonna occur, but the original one by Starlight is 165 units, while the one by Diamond is 136. So you're gonna see a smaller footprint plus space set aside for the stacking. And then we talked about too, during the workshop, the possibility of maybe even moving the Boys and Girls Club there later. I mean, not that there's an appetite for it now, but right now, when the students get out, where the Boys and Girls Club exists, there is no school next to it, so somebody has to bus them or transport them. But if the Boys and Girls Club was moved to this property, then the kids, when they get out of school, can just walk right to it and not even have to cross the street. So it's a lot more friendly use of it for the community. So I can't favor Starlight Homes just to go in there and just utilize the whole 25 acres and maximize the amount of development. And I can't in good conscience support that. I would support the second issue, which is we're still selling it, we're still making some money off it, but we're setting aside land for the stacking, and we're setting aside land for potential future use, where we can move like the Boys and Girls Club, maybe have like a place for grace there, or have some kind of, all-encompassing, shelter where kids can go and play and have something to do right next to the school and not have to worry about, transportation issues to utilize it. So that would be my recommendation. So my recommendation, if you want to move forward, is to use the footprint that's the smallest. And if you don't want to agree to that, then I'll have to agree to Mr. Aguero, then let's kick it back out and see what the residents want. But I do know the residents don't want it to be maximized every square inch with as many houses as possible. So at least we can try to minimize it with the Diamond Homes proposal.
So I mean, I think we're talking about two different things. We're talking about the number of units versus density. And if you look at the 100 to 136 homes on 15 acres, you're actually building 65%, but on half the land.
I had to interrupt
So
you,
the
but
density
this
is
a discussion
higher.
for the board again. I mean, you guys have
I'm sorry,
proposed.
I did ask her.
Okay, I'm sorry, yeah.
And by the way, just to be kind of turn, but I did kind of
I appreciate
that's
that,
the reason
thank
why
you.
she was answering the question.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, because.
Yeah, and that's on me, I did not have my light on, I apologize, Madam Chair.
Yeah, so I think, so from a density perspective, The one offer is 6 units per acre across all 25 acres, which gives a little bit lower, I don't want to say crowding, but it's just a lower density. It feels a little more open space, roads are a little wider, more landscaping, more buffers, there's a park. That when you build less units but on a smaller piece of land, your density goes up, feels a little smaller, lots are a little smaller. Maybe sidewalks not as wide. We don't have engineered plans, so we can't speak specifically to either one. But
Madam Chair, when you get a chance, so just in case for, the gentleman from Diamond Homes is here, and so I don't know if he filled out a comment card to speak, if he wants to be able to address the board.
Mr. Aguayo, you're recognized.
Yeah, and I want to make sure, obviously, my complaint's not on the service to you guys. I know that you guys have a job to do, you're doing your job, I appreciate diligence. It's just, I don't think that we're doing our job. Yeah, I mean, the community has been extremely clear, I've made that point. But I think as a district, we want to get used to where we're making a decision that we can all feel good about, as opposed to rushing every time something comes on the agenda. We act like we're compelled to vote for it no matter what all the time, and I think that it would be healthy for the district if we got out of that frame of mind where we could say, we're gonna think about this, we're gonna do our due diligence, just like she has done hers. And I don't think that we have. We have not talked to the community, I'll mention again. We should do that first. I mean, in terms of, to move on to something else, in terms of density, it's very relative. This is dense. This is dense building, it's dense development, it's gonna cause traffic, and there's no guarantees that we won't take that other 15 acres and sell it to something that's even more dense. So, I mean, we're talking about just a disaster to the community. It's insulting to the community if we do this without having conversations with them. And is that the identity that we wanna have with the community, that we could not care any less about what they want? We're gonna do it anyways because we know better than you do. And number one, that's not the case. And number two, I don't think that's who we wanna be.
So I have a comment to make as well, and where Mr. Arguello and I maybe disagree on a lot of things. One thing that I do know in looking at, because you brought to attention that there were some things stated in here as far as transaction timeline, transaction history, that in November, we did ask the staff to put all district surplus property on hold until March when we had our workshop, which we have yet to have. So because that is the direction that we gave previously, I kind of am siding with the fact that that was a statement that we've requested in the past and we haven't gotten to that moment yet. Ms. Castillo?
Thank you. So in light of your comment, Madam Chair, I wonder if we can table this until after the workshop? With a specific date after the workshop.
Right, so I was looking, that's what I pulled up here too, to see our March workshop for facilities update and surplus property is scheduled at this time for March 26th at 4 p.m. So it would be at a time after that. So a motion by Ms. Castillo to table this until after that, a second by Mr. Melendez.
Yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes to table.
thank you.
Thank you. With that, we are on to 13.11. Mr. Aguirre, you're recognized.
Yeah, so this is the naming of a school, Knightsbridge K, as the name for what has been referred to as BB. I'm not sure why we're wasting this opportunity to name our schools after heroes of our American nation, as opposed to Knightsbridge or Westland Park, which would be 1312. We're basically wasting this opportunity, and I think that we need to revisit how we name schools and give the names to these schools that would honor our community. There's precedence for it. There's we have had people name schools and buildings after themselves. Why would we not take the opportunity to name one of our schools or all of our schools after our American heroes? I think that it's time that we revisit it. We have to go back for sure to our policy. There's certainly weaknesses in how we name these schools. It should not be the development that decides what the name of the school is. I think that's a terrible way to go about it, and that's what we've done here. So I don't want to just surrender my opportunity as a school board member to do something that is going to be so long. I would much rather this be George Washington Knight than I would Knightsbridge AA.
Now that Mr. Arguello brought it up, I was gonna mention it during new business for the school naming procedures. But we have School Board Rule 8.54 saying that the school board will name the schools. Names for new schools shall be selected by the board members. And shall have the complete discretion and flexibility to make those choices on behalf of the people of the county. And so I had done a little bit of research, and I found out that whenever in the past, the school district had named schools, they had workshops first. And so during those workshops, they would kind of bounce ideas off each other. And so to me, I felt like this was something that the staff had done and kind of gave it to us and say, hey, this is what it is. So we're not really adhering to the procedures of naming schools that has been codified in 8.54. So do I appreciate the fact? I probably would name it the same thing. So I'm just being a technician. There's a reason why things get to where they are. I probably would have achieved the same result. So I'm kind of like leaning towards that. Do I want to go through all that and just go for it, or do I want to adhere to the policy? Because the policy also says in geography that Section 1 could be argued that schools shall not be named after individual subdivisions. So to be honest with you, I haven't read every single line of every single school policy until an issue comes up. And I don't know, So I don't even know if we're allowed to name it Knightsbridge and Wesleyan Lake. So I'm just so torn because I kind of want to move this forward, and we've kind of moved, I want to vote yes to get it out there, but I don't want to dishonor the school board policy of the way that we name schools. And the way this was executed was not the way that we've done so in the past, and not according to school board rules. So I'm torn, so I need the other board members to convince me which way to go.
Dr. Chanoff, you're recognized.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate the comments thus far. If we're gonna go that direction, we probably need to look at several of the schools that have been named previously, most recently, because they too, I think, fell through some of the gaps that exist within the policy. After last meeting, when this was polled, we polled the communities, and we wanted the communities to decide and bring that recommendation forward to the board members for their consideration. These names are for your consideration, and these names come with the overwhelming majority of the new school communities voting for these two names. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Aguayo, you're recognized.
Yeah, I'm not worried about, first of all, the idea that we can pick and choose when we follow the school board rules is a huge problem, right? Even so, I'm not as offended by dishonoring the school board rules as I am dishonoring the community. The fact is, these are multi-million-dollar projects that we're spending on behalf of the community, and we don't allow them any input against what our rules are in order to do it. Okay, so these neighborhoods have voted on that, but I haven't seen any of that data. I haven't, as an elected official, I have not been able to speak to any of those people. I mean, this is a district on autopilot, which I don't like. What I like is I'm the one that I know I speak to my constituents. I go out there and I speak to the citizens. I'm constantly accessible to them. I trust myself to go and hear, right, and to listen and to dialogue. And Dr. Shanoff, with all due respect, I know that you are good at this. You get out in the community, you're talking to them, and I appreciate that for the past 3 years prior to your arrival, we've had a district that was shut off from the community and didn't take any feedback, had zero communication, and it was just just a joke. It was so different. So you'll have to excuse me that I have a little bit of PTSD when it comes to how our district used to behave with the community. I want to be able to talk to them. I want to participate in that. And the fact that I have not been able to is not good. This is the naming of a school, which the school board is supposed to do. We did not. And that's the bottom line. So every school board member here has talked about precedents and about doing, following the procedure and not breaking away from the rules and not setting up precedents, which is against what our rules are. But that's exactly what we did. So is it only when John Arguello says something that we have to follow the rules? Or is it when the school district, or are we gonna start following the rules all the time? I mean, I think that we have to pick and choose, because there are certainly some rules that I would not like to follow.
Ms. Castillo, you're recognized.
Thank you. Before, Dr. Shanov stated that these schools were named by the community, which is what you stated, correct? Did I misunderstand that?
These names were voted overwhelmingly by the community.
Okay. Before he made the comment, my comment would have been that if we are going to have a more codified rule when it comes to naming schools, that it should be to have the communities vote on that. I'm fine with the board having those conversations, but I think that the community has the kids that go to those schools and they should be the ones to name it. In this particular case, it seems that has been done, so I would be in favor of voting for both of these, and I would also be in favor of us having more conversations to codify that, whatever the board chooses, but if we so choose, allow the communities themselves to have a mechanism to be able to vote for the names of their schools. So with that, I'm making a motion to approve 13.11.
Thank you. I have a motion by Ms. Castillo on the floor. I have Mr. Melendez recognized at this time.
Yeah, I hate to be the stickler here, but then I read part 2, and it specifically says, and this is a school board rule on naming schools, 8.54. Prior to recommending a name for the school, the members of the school board should be consulted for the recommendations. The school board shall ask a committee representing the community to be served by the school to suggest names for consideration. So it happened in reverse.
Yeah.
So the school board was supposed to say, okay, let's have a workshop, what do we think? And then we take the input, like staff did the work for us. And, that was one thing that Ms. Carn, the new attorney, came into us. She gave me a little sheet. Hey, you know your boundaries, this is the authority of the school board, this is the authority of the superintendent. This was the authority of the school board. And the superintendent, no offense, he's a great guy, I like him. But in this instance, he stepped into the bounds of the authority of the school board. So with that, I'm gonna stick to technical rules, because Mr. Argolla is right. I'm not gonna pick and choose. I had probably come to the same exact conclusion, but I want it done the right way. And I cannot make an exception to the policy, especially when it's so clear. It's not even ambiguous. I can understand something is subject to interpretation. You go, but it literally says the school board shall ask a committee. The school board didn't ask a committee. Prior to recommending, it doesn't need to be codified. It is codified. The issue is that we didn't follow it. And unfortunately, we don't follow the rules. Those are the consequences. I want to do the same thing with schools. So I would reject this proposal at this moment, but I still.
Yeah, I'm not sure to address what Board Member Castillo said. Why codify any further if we're not going to follow what we have codified now? I mean, there's no point to making further rules that we're not going to obey. The rule is very clear. I read the rule. That's why I brought it up. That's why I had it pulled up from the last meeting. Nothing happened, and then it came back up on the agenda again. So here, I'm hoping that everybody took the opportunity to read, like Mr. Melendez is doing now, to read what the school board ruled, because it's very clear. So if we're gonna go into a position where we're gonna selectively choose when we follow the procedures and not, then we're gonna get into big trouble. I'm sure you're worried about it, because I'm very good at picking out when we pick and choose what we're supposed to do even when it's wrong. And then I'll come here every single meeting and I will point out every single time we're breaking the rules, and then I'm gonna start breaking rules left and right, right? Because,
Who's worried about it?
Our attorney. So, I mean, if we're gonna have selective practices here, that's huge liability for the school district. And every time a person from the community comes up here and we decide that we're gonna make them follow the rules, that we're not doing it ourselves, again, that's further disrespect to the community. That's who we're supposed to serve. That should be the number one thing that we consider for every single one of these agenda items is the community and who we serve. And of course, I'm voting no.
You're recognized.
Thank you. So to be clear, with regards to the reason I suggested that we go back and recodify the rule is because I don't think I agree with the current rule. I think that the community, as we have so said 3,500 times in this argument, should be the one to make the decision. And that's what I feel we should have a discussion about, and that's what I felt should be codified. With regards to doing what the community wants, it's clear that in this moment, we are going to completely ignore the community of Knightsbridge, who already named their school, and we're just going to do what we want to do. So it looks like we're at a 2-2 here. They already named the school. The community named the school. The community of Knightsbridge is not named, this was the name.
So what? Mr. Aguilar, you're recognized.
Yeah, so the issue is that how do we know what the community was fed and information before they voted on this? Are you, as a school board member, 100% confident that they were provided with all the options? Or were they given, you can name your school BB or PBS 569 or Knightsbridge, and those were the only two options. You don't know that. So the fact is that we didn't provide them with all the options. You could name your school George Washington Elementary, or you could name your school Hank Aaron School, or whatever. You could name your school a million different things. We don't know what the procedure was. We just know that the district did our job as school board members, and it's a matter of you deciding whether or not we're gonna do our job or not. I like to do my job. I'm very familiar with the 25 duties and responsibilities of a school board member. According to our school policy, this is one of them, and we were circumvented from doing it.
Ms. Corin?
Yes, one way that this could work at this point where the policy is followed and also you could address the policy moving forward is it does say prior to recommending a name for a school, the members of the school board should be consulted. If this was pulled this evening and then there were individual meetings with each board member to consult with each board member about what the names are and what that data is, then that would fulfill that requirement where then the school district could bring that back. And at that time, then the school board would still have the opportunity to vote for a name or not vote for a name for what their particular reasons are. However, it would alleviate that hurdle if it was so the school board's desire to do so, if it was pulled off and brought back. But at that point, you could still also render your same arguments again if you did not like the information that was brought to you in terms of naming it a different name.
Madam Chair, may I ask the attorney a question?
You're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can we have just like an emergency workshop where we put it in there, say Friday, I mean proper notice of time, either this Friday or this whatever time frame that meets the Sunshine State standards or the Sunshine Law standards. And we just have that one agenda item and we get presented what was the community input and what was the survey and things like that. So that way the whole board and the public can see, not, I don't feel comfortable at individual meetings with individual board members. I prefer to, and I appreciate that we can do that, but I prefer a workshop, an emergency workshop. We get all the data that was collected, was the survey asked, and we can review that and then just have another, at the next board meeting, just put it on the agenda item and vote.
You would have to schedule a workshop. It wouldn't constitute an emergency, so it would need to be scheduled as a normal workshop within the workshop calendar, within the normal notice days, et cetera. Also, you do need to consider that Friday is rodeo day, so that
No,
would
I'm
not
just
be.
giving you an idea. I mean,
Yes.
what is the normal time? Because it doesn't necessarily, an emergency is like if you have to do it like within 48 hours. Was it 7 days, right? The point is, we don't have to wait till the next board meeting and do it the prior workshop prior. Can we just have a workshop on its own 7 days prior and just talk about that one item, just to get it over with?
Well, you could have a workshop, however, again, you would have to notice the workshop and then the information would still also need to be on the board agenda. So information that is derived in the workshop would then not be able to be, it would be duplicative. Because you would have it on the workshop agenda and then you'd also have to have it on the school board agenda, which you could do, but any new information that is derived at the workshop could not be put on the school board agenda because you would not be within the time frame to then put it on the next school board agenda, so you would then be pushed out a second school board meeting, which is still a possibility, but just explain.
I got you, I appreciate it.
Dr. Shannon, can I ask what the timeline is if something were to, so the next facilities update we have is again the March 26th workshop. So that's facilities and surplus property discussion. If we were not to rush an additional workshop prior to, I don't know what the timeline looks like for that though.
We can do whatever the board's pleasure is.
Is there any desire to have a discussion during our facilities workshop that we have already scheduled on March 26th?
Yeah, that's fine. I'm okay with that.
My light is on.
Mr. Arguello, you're recognized.
Yeah, I appreciate the thought, Madam Attorney. The problem is, I don't want to get into the practice of a smart attorney getting the school board out of the trouble that it gets itself in. I want us to comply with our rules. I want us to comply with our service to this community. I want us to comply with our duties. I don't want to find interesting ways to get away from it. I've kind of made a career out of that. But that's not what I want to do here. What I want to do is follow our commitment to the community, to do the things as we said, follow the rules, be transparent. So I know that there's going to always be a way to get away with not doing the right thing. I want to do the right thing instead and just do everything the right way, which we could, because there's no hurry. If we don't buy the sign for this school tomorrow, the district will survive. So we should be able to, whenever you want to put it on the agenda, whenever you want to put it on a workshop, whenever you want to do the process, let's just follow the rules that are written. Let's follow our commitment to the community and do it the right way. It may come out with the same result, maybe the same name at the end of the day, who knows? But there's no good argument that I've heard so far for us not to do things the correct way and honor the community.
Yeah, I think it would be February 27th would be a good idea, and then that gives us plenty of time at the March 26th to have the final vote. So February 27th is, we're already having a workshop. I know we're like workshop city, but just have another workshop at 3, because I think we have one at 4, which is the internal audit. Yeah, 4 o'clock is internal audit. And sometimes we do have workshops, like say March 26th, the board workshop is 2 o'clock. So it's not unprecedented for us to have one a little bit earlier. So if we have the school naming workshop on the 27th at 3, then we could do that. And then whatever we decide, whatever options come out, now there's almost a full month to the next meeting, because I know there's spring break in there. That gives it ample time for us to publicly notice it, to put it on the board meeting on the 26th, and not have to worry about a workshop on a separate day.
Dr. Shanoff, you're recognized.
I need clarity from the board on this, because I need to know specifically whether or not you want your committee to be created, so then your committee can meet between now and when I need to post, and then be able to bring everything back to have dialogue with all of you, so then you can make a decision. And I just need to say that I don't think that there's anything in the policy that calls for a community to vote on this. So we can bypass the community vote altogether because it's not part of the policy. But if we're gonna follow the policy the way that it is, I'm gonna need to go ahead and get those committee members immediately from the board members. We're gonna need to be able to convene those committee members. And we're gonna go through the process exactly as described. I wanna make sure that what we bring to the board on the 27th dots all the i's and crosses all the t's. So I need some direction from the board.
Thank you, Ms. Castillo, you're recognized.
Thank you for asking for direction, Dr. Shano, because it seems that I'm also a little bit confused as to what we're doing. It sounds like, board, let me know if this is, if I'm understanding correctly, the meeting on the workshop that is being proposed on February 27th, is that the day, Mr.? Would be for us to discuss what our wishes are for naming a school, which could possibly become a new policy, or what is the requested outcome for the workshop on the 27th, the February 27th?
Mr. Melendez was wanting a time where we could speak in front of the public, so a workshop so that we could have that dialogue there. I think Dr. Shanoff is asking if we're going to move forward with following our current policy
Right, so
as
that's,
it's
yeah,
stated.
thank you.
My
So,
thing is, in my intent, and that was a very good articulation of what I wanted, Ms. Cohen. But what I wanted then was if the work was already done, if Dr. Shenoff had selected a committee to present that committee results there. To say, okay, who was the committee? What were the questions asked? Because we may not have to create a brand new committee, if the committee was already formed. We're just acknowledging the results of that committee. Because Mr. Arbour at the time may look at their survey and go, I don't like the way the survey was done. And then he goes, well, redo the survey to the same committee members and shoot it out to them. So it all depends. I can't conclude what the outcome is gonna be, but I don't need to create a brand new committee. I just need to see the work that staff had already done and present it to the board, because I may have another name. Because during that time, people may come up to me and email me, well, I think this should be the name. So I can compare what some people emailed me versus what the committee had voted on, and then kind of make that decision from there. So it's not the community saying what's gonna happen, that's the school board's job to name the school. But I would like to take their input into consideration.
So from
Just
a
to be
legal,
clear-
hold on one second. Mr. Arroyo, you're recognized.
Yeah, so if I may suggest that we table these names, that we set up a review, Dr. Shanoff will go through, establish the process in which we can follow our rules, and then at the same time, the school board members be provided with all the data and information that has been collected to date, and then set a time in the future, February 27th being a potential date, where we can workshop the name issue and then move forward from there.
Ms. Castillo, did you have more questions? I'm sorry, I forgot that you had. had your light on.
it's fine. It sounds like we have at least a path that I can agree with, so I'm gonna drop my questioning at this point.
Ms. Corrin?
So from a legal standpoint, if you're looking strictly at the policy, it states that the school board should ask a committee representing the community to be served by the school to suggest names. So based on this policy as it's written exactly, my recommendation would be that each school board member provide names to Dr. Shanoff for a committee.
Okay.
Those, you can provide your suggested names to those committee members to consider within the committee. And then that committee would do what they're supposed to do within community involvement, et cetera, so that when you have that workshop, whenever you schedule it, Dr. Shanoff is bringing back a committee that you have chosen to present the proposed names and the proposed data behind it. So at that point, everything has already been addressed, and that would be exactly within the policy.
I'll make a motion then to follow the attorney's advice and to establish the committee, submit the names, and to pass that on to the superintendent to continue the recommendation of the attorney.
Thank you. I have a motion on the floor. Ms. Castillo, you're recognized.
So this committee is to be made of members of Osceola County or of members of the communities that will actually be affected by the naming of the school?
It says that the school board shall ask a committee representing the community to be served by the school to suggest names. So that would appear to be based on this, members of the community that live in the school zone for the school. One thing that you would have to choose, because this policy is ambiguous, is how many people each of you are going to select for that committee, so that you don't have one person submitting 5 names, one person submitting 14 names, and then that information can be used so that there is a clear committee. And if you also chose, for instance, that you were going to give each of those 3 names, 5 names, whatever it is that you choose, to Dr. Shanoff's team by a date certain next week, so that that committee can then be convened and the data reviewed so that they can do what they need to do. That's under the law the best way to implement this policy.
And my personal recommendation would be no more than 2, so it doesn't become a huge committee, you know.
So I'll amend my motion to make it 2 persons for each school board member.
Dr. Shanoff, you're recognized.
I want to be realistic about this. Being able to turn this around and do this the right way is not going to happen by the 27th.
No, it's not.
So March 26th is my recommendation. There's no way to do this by the 27th without putting other things in jeopardy of being completed. So if it pleases the board, I'm prepared to do that for 13.11 and 13.12.
So at this time, we have a motion on the floor by Mr. Arguello to provide 2 community members from each district that those schools reside in to serve on a committee that will follow our policy in helping us select the names for these 2 schools.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Arguello, second by Mr. Melendez. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes, and that can count for 13.11 and 13.12.
I was gonna say, I
Do
still
that
need a
separately?
motion to officially pull those 2 items, please.
I will motion to pull those 2 items.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Arguello to pull 13.11 and 13.12, second by Mr. Melendez. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, the motion passes.
And I will make a motion, the same motion for 13.13.
That is not necessary.
13.13 is the all facilities.
13.12, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
That's why she said it wasn't necessary.
Ms. Culver, are you good?
Yes, I'm good. And we're adding a workshop on 3/26
We are adding to the, yes,
at 3 o'clock. Oh, no, we can't, because we're going at 2. So it would have to be before 2 o'clock, so 1 o'clock?
Full day. Yeah, we have no other choice.
Yeah.
Unless we want to have it on another day. It doesn't have to be Tuesday, it could be like Monday or something.
Yeah, but that's not just depending on us. When we do workshops, other people have to show up. It's
Yeah.
fine. They're already here.
Yeah, 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock?
can we, is there an opportunity to move those around? I mean, because it's a facilities update and surplus property, can we not lump that in with, because this is part of facilities, or no, this needs to be its own?
Like the conversation.
Like if we were just to adjust the times.
That's a lot to fit in 1 hour.
Well, I said if we just adjust the time, I was just trying not to break them up because of the people that would be in the attendance, so if we were to push the 2
Switch budget
o'clock
planning and
one.
facilities
Oh,
and
yeah,
make it 2
that's a good
hours.
idea.
Yeah, oh yeah, we could do that.
Yeah.
Can we? And what their team, are you guys staff works, decides on that?
I just need clarification when you decide.
So we're recommending switching facilities and budget and extending facilities by an hour.
Yes.
What is it you're doing, I'm sorry?
So
Switch,
recommending to switch the 2, so it would be facilities and surplus at 2 o'clock to give it the 2 hours. So it would have 2 hours then till 4 if it needed to. And 4 o'clock would be budget, is that what you're saying? Or budget needed 2 hours?
Budget needed 2.
It's up to you guys. I need staff input. What?
Facilities, do you think you could do that workshop in an hour versus 2 hours?
the facilities is only 1 hour.
Oh, it is only an hour.
So we're gonna extend that by 1 hour and move budget, switch them. So facilities will be a 2-hour meeting beginning at 3 p.m., right, from 3 to 5. And then budget, facilities and surplus will take place prior to that for 2 hours.
So you're saying 1 o'clock?
Then when does the school naming occur?
During
That-
the
during that
facilities,
time.
Oh,
because it's
just
facilities.
adding it together.
We're extending it
The
out.
same
I see what
people
you're
that
saying,
would be
incorporate it.
there,
Okay, gotcha, I got it.
is what I'm thinking.
Got it.
So facilities at 1, budget at 3.
We're adding the naming of,
Yeah, we're adding new schools to the facility workshop itself. So it's facilities, surplus, it's facilities update, surplus property /
Chair, can you clarify please?
We are moving the March 26th facilities update surplus property workshop to 1 o'clock PM that day and adding on the school naming And we are moving the budget planning for March 26th from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock. No, sorry, 3 o'clock. But one at 3, one at 1, one at 3. Thank you.
And what date do the board members need to have their committee members' names submitted to the superintendent by?
26th, the superintendent said.
February 26th? Or, no, I would say sooner than that. I would say,
I have my button pushed off, just gonna wait.
oh, I'm sorry, Dr. Shinoff, you're recognized.
Thank you. I really don't wanna wait on this. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna provide you with the zone. We're gonna provide each board member with a map of the zone. That will contain the streets and whatnot. So then you can identify folks, that live within the school zone for you to participate, in this particular venture. Those folks would need to submit those names, to Ms. Blake and myself. I think we need to get going on this in a week.
Could we have it by a week from today?
It's gonna have to be a week from today in order for us to actually do everything that we need to do. I wanna make sure that this is airtight.
Then I don't think that that's enough, sorry.
Just in case though, what might help me especially, Dr. Shanoff, it just include names of people that were on the committee already. So if there are already committee members that were on the committee that were participated in the past, I might just select somebody that was there already, make it easier for you. Does that make sense? No, you don't have to answer that question now, you could, but I'm just saying, but when you submit us the information, just give us the parents that were included.
We are
already
happy to
first.
go ahead and include any and all interested parties that are part of the new school community. The thing is that we've had more conversation with just the families that are gonna be a part of that school. We haven't necessarily had the same level of conversation with residents who live in the area that will not be sending their students to that school. So that list, unfortunately, Mr. Melendez, will only contain those folks that will be attending that school, so we're limited by that list.
Am I allowed to legally appoint the principal of the school, even though he doesn't live there, but he's gonna be running the school?
The policy says specifically that it needs to be, the school board shall ask a committee representing the community to be served by the school. So it's the community to be served by the school. So the principal, unless that principal lived in the school zone, would not be, they could possibly be an additional member of the committee if the board so wanted, but pursuant to this policy, exactly as it's written, it is supposed to be the community. Certainly you can take that input, I'm sure.
In the interest of time, what we can do is we can have individual conversations with the board members to determine how they would like to see the listing of folks that we have, at least living in that area, that would be participating in that particular school. And if there was a need for an extended list, we can certainly work to try to garner folks that wouldn't necessarily be attending that school but living within the zone.
Yeah, can I just get the list of everyone who will be attending that school? Everyone who's enrolled, ready to go to that school or planning to? And I'll go through that list and I'll just interview people until I find 2 people that I would like to serve on this committee.
I don't know even if there is a list yet of people that are enrolled because the school has not.
We have a tentative list of
Yes.
students that are projected to go to that school. I don't know though if I don't know if cold calling is gonna be our most effective mechanism.
Yeah, but I mean, as a school board member, I wanna be able to select the people I want. I don't want someone else telling me that I can't reach out to somebody in the community to interview them. I'll call it's basically a burden on me and my time, and I'll call everybody in that community and I'll say, hey, We're about to name your school. How much interest do you have in naming that school? And then based on that person's response, I can say, you know what? If you're really passionate about it, would you please serve on this committee on my behalf? And I think that that's more than reasonable. It doesn't cost the school nothing. There's no legal reason not to provide me the list. I'll just go down, I'll call everybody. And hey, it's just, how are you? I serve you. Would you please serve on this committee if you so choose? And I don't think that that's an issue.
I do have to caution from a legal standpoint, having a list and calling the list because an argument could be made, not saying that it would be the intent of a school board member to do this in any way, shape, or form, but an argument could be made if you called one demographic of names versus another demographic of names, that there was an equity consideration in terms of who you were seeking out.
I mean, the list is the list, right? So if I called everybody on the list, then there is no equity. It's the list. There's no issue. And even if I decided that I was gonna call every group whose name ended with an O, then, I mean, that's my issue. That's not the issue for the school district to determine that I'm not allowed to call.
The question that would also need to be considered is what parents have opted into phone calls and what
I think,
parents have
okay, I
opted
think
out
that
of
this is
phone
going
calls.
far and beyond. This is again, the district behaving in a manner which is very odd. I'm an elected official. I'm asking for a document which allows me to reach the public to ask them for them to be involved. Number one, I don't appreciate the fact that you keep looking at Dr. Shanoff. I'm the school board member. The attorney works for the school board members. I'm not a lawyer, but certainly I know that I am able to call everybody on my list of who goes to one of my schools.
That's right.
I know that there's nothing wrong with that.
As a public records request, you can make that
I don't
request.
need to make a public records request. What I'm doing right now is discussing it in a school board meeting that I'm gonna be provided the list. So before I make a public records request, is the school district absolutely refusing to provide me a list of people so that I can choose them for, there's no reason for this already. There's no reason for this conversation to have gone on as long as it has. This is exactly the problem. I'm not sure that you understand the place that we're coming from, and now you're slowly walking us back into this place, which is very uncomfortable, which is the district trying to manage the school board members. You might be able to manage some of them, but I will not be managed. I know what my job is, and I'm gonna do it.
An absolute, by the book, legal reading of this policy.
Then I would like to see a letter, an opinion from the Attorney General explaining to me why I would not be able to have the list of community members that go to one of my schools so that I can call out, reach out to them individually. We have had this district reach out to community members on behalf of school board members for a million different reasons. But for me to compile 2 people from a list of people attending a school to serve on a committee is absolutely mind-boggling. I'd like to see an opinion from the Attorney General telling me why I would not be able to have that.
So Mr. Arguello, if I can just finish my response. I do not believe I ever stated that you could not have a list. I, again,
Okay then
provided.
why are we having this discussion?
Okay, so I reviewed the policy with your concerns. I provided a recommendation of a mechanism within the law that you can all follow this policy exactly so that you can achieve your goals that you stated as a school board this evening. And as your attorney, it is my responsibility to provide advice as well when there can possibly be a legal issue with the school board. I never once ever stated that you could not have a list.
Okay,
That
thank you
is
then.
not my responsibility to say.
That's really the
That is
only issue.
Okay, but
I was asking for a document of a list of community members, and then you looked at the superintendent, and you're like trying to figure out whether it's okay for me to provide this list, and whether or not you have to come up with a legal argument on why I could not be provided the list. Number one, I'm not some, it insults my intelligence for you to come here and try to create a reason why I can't be provided with something that I know I'm absolutely legitimately able to have. And there's no reason for it. I get it. You guys want to name this school Knightbridge. I get it. I understand that. Just so that everybody knows, I understand the overwhelming need to name this school Knightsbridge. that I will not be managed as a school board member. I'm elected, not Dr. Shanoff, not you, Madam Attorney. I am elected. I'm gonna serve my public. I'm gonna fulfill my duty. I'm gonna do it my way, according to the Constitution of the state. And so unless you can find me something in the Constitution of the state of Florida that tells me that I cannot have that list, I don't wanna have this level of defensing, trying to, parry everything that I say. So, Dr. Shanoff, I would like to have that list of our members of the community who attend this school, who are planning to attend this school. I will call each one of them according to my want, my will, and I will find 2 committee members for this purpose. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Aguero. Mr. Castillo, you're recognized.
I think it's absolutely inappropriate to ask the school district to provide you a private list of parents for the use of a school board member. If I do think that if we want to have an open call for people to want to be on the committee, I think that perhaps we can partner with our community relations department and have a big ask for folks to submit names that live within that area to be able to serve on the committee. I 135% think it is inappropriate to provide any of us with a list of parents who did not ask to be part of this conversation at the moment, who do not want to be called by elected officials for the simple act of naming their school. I do think that we can partner with community relations and possibly to be able to quell the need for, folks to be able to pick a committee member, but it's not up to me to whether or not you provide that list. If people want to risk themselves legally to do that, I just want to state that it is inappropriate to provide that kind of information to an elected official. Funny or not, inappropriate.
I'm not sure that you know what inappropriate is.
I do. I do think I know what
Absolutely
inappropriate is. And
Not
some of the people that
legally,
put me in this
not,
seat.
Thank you.
not morally.
Are you done with your?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Mr. Aguero, you're recognized.
Okay, again, a school board member does not decide what another school board member may do. This district has sent out texts on your behalf for your events. There's no difference with this, except I'm doing the labor myself, not community relations. Community relations serves the 2 of you extremely well. Community relations does not serve me very well. Community relations, I have a very questionable relationship with. I don't believe that they've been very ethical in their practices. I'm not gonna use them, I'm not gonna depend on them. I'm gonna depend on myself to call each parent and say that. Now, if you were as committed as I am as a school board member, you wouldn't be so absolutely on fire at the idea of me having a list of community members. I'm gonna do that. I'm not asking for permission. I don't need to ask for your permission. The 4 board members here are equals at this table, and I don't need your permission, just like you don't need my permission. Feel free to do as much or as little work as you like. I'm gonna take my time, I'm gonna call them all. And I will literally now call every single one of those community members and talk to each one.
Thank you. Mr. Melendez, you're recognized.
Because reiterating what it states in the rule, the school board shall ask a committee representing the community to be served by the school. And I can appreciate an argument that somebody may not want to get cold called, but I have an app named Remind, and I opted in to get updates. And so they give updates all the time. So maybe if we narrow that list to folks who have opted in the Remind app that live within that school, because that way they're not being solicited unwantedly. So if they went to the school district and said, I want to get a Remind app, they're saying that they're opting in to get updates of school events. So I do believe that a middle ground can be found, but Mr. Aguero is correct. The school board rule allows them to speak to the community at large. If there's an issue about parents being, not wanting to be solicited by the school district, then the way to do that is to narrow it down to those who have opted into the Remind app. Because the Remind app does allow access to a phone, and they give me updates when there's a hurricane, when there's a whatever, there's a day missing. So I opted in to get those updates. So I concur that at the very minimum, the floor should be Mr. Arguello, or all board members, not Mr. Arguello, all board members should get those parents who have opted in the Remind app that live within the school district bounds.
Mr. Aguero.
Listen, I don't know, maybe I'm being unclear here. I do not live my life according to what other equal elected officials do in their own practices. There is no law, there's no reason, no practice that tells me I cannot call all the school board. If I ask for a list of every single parent of the 70,000 students on here, I don't expect for an attorney and a school superintendent to decide, we don't want to give you that list. That's not how it works. I was elected by the people for, if the community of Osceola County tells me, we don't want you to have that list, that's one thing. But I'm not going to be determined by the rules that you guys arbitrarily decide I'm allowed to have. I'm not doing that. I serve the Constitution and I serve the community. I ask for the list. I'm going to receive the list or I'll sue the school district. And then you guys can do your own. You guys can do your own. You guys can decide what you're going to do. Listen, you can ask the superintendent to provide you with 2 names. You can do the same. You can go ask community affairs to provide you with 2 names. That's fine. The way that they do all your homework. I do my own homework. And I'm going to call every person on that list. And that's it. That's not going to change. Great idea. I appreciate the ability to negotiate. But here's the thing. I don't negotiate with people who are trying to stymie my opportunity to serve the public in the way that I want to.
I think we have direction for providing the board members with what they request in order to fulfill their committee assignments, and have that to you by February 20th, a week from today. And we already have everything within the minutes for the workshop moving forward. We are now on to 14.01 public comment. Laura McAdams. She stepped out. Lisa Towns?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I don't know what to say coming behind that. My name is Lisa Towns and I am an ambassador for Prayer Back in School. With everything going on in the country, much less our city, state, and federal government, we believe strongly that prayer back in school is essential. This is not politics, this is not religion, this is not denomination, but we see that our children are hemorrhaging, they are suffering, they are dying right before our eyes, from thoughts of suicide to bullying, sexual assault, sexualized assault, and being a counselor, I hear this quite a bit. The children now, they're not just mad, they're enraged. I got a call today that one girl was bullied so bad that she was left unconscious. So it is so important that we put prayer back in our schools. We have over 200 ambassadors and some of them are with me today. And we are proud of what we're doing. We're not ashamed of putting prayer back in school. We're not ashamed of praying. Moment of silence is, to me, not a great idea because it kind of adds to the fuel of what they're already thinking. Prayer back in school, our children are suffering both physically, mentally, spiritually, and we know that everything should start at home, but because so many homes are houses, we believe that children are in school 6, 7, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, 9 months out of the year. So they're in school pretty much 80% of their life. We also believe that with prayer in school, it will open a dialogue with our children, parents, and teachers about the importance of conscious self-awareness, self-love, self-care. So we personally believe that prayer back in school is so essential. We were in Tallahassee, just to make it quick, we were in Tallahassee a couple of weeks ago, and the outpouring of support, even here as we were coming in the door, the outpouring of support. Yes, we need it. Yes, we must have prayer back in our school. So to have the foundation to put prayer back in our school, and then the structure of basic learning, basic teaching. I know when I was in school, we had reading, writing, arithmetic, home economics. So please, let's consider to put prayer back in our schools.
Laura McAdams.
Good evening, board members. My name is Laura McAdams. I live in St. Cloud, Florida. I was just donned this morning by God to say a small prayer for everyone in here today. So if we all could just bow our heads and be in silence. Dear God, I pray for all our leaders here that you help guide them in the best direction that you can, for our students, for their staff, and for all the schools and their leadership. I pray that you shine lights on their hearts to show them the right way and to do the right things for our community, for our children, because we are in desperate need of your guidance and your strength and your power in our schools right now. And our children are in desperate need of you, Lord, because they're lost, and so is our leadership. And it begins with our leadership, because they are the ones that are supposed to stand and show them the way. Just like parents, we're here to show our children the way. We are the light for them, and we are their role models. So please, I ask you to just shine your light and your grace and your mercy on everyone in here this evening. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Thank you.
Another thing I'd like to say regards to the structural thing on the building of the new schools and the little bit of room that you have for parents and stuff. I get it, because when I go to schools, I like to make sure that I have access to my children whenever I want, and I want to feel comfortable walking into their school, private school or not. I always have access to my children at all times. I have to get background checked to get into the school, which is wonderful. I don't mind doing that because I want access to my kids. They're mine. So, I don't know. I just stumbled upon this quote today. Sorry. The prayer got to me. Those who give up liberty for safety and security deserve neither. That was a quote by Thomas Jefferson. So we might consider maybe doing background checks on the parents and making sure that they always have access to their children and make it comfortable for them, because we gave birth to them. We keep them in our stomach and our bodies for a full 9 months, and we go through the pain and the labor. So I'm sure lots of your mothers or grandparents have gone through this, and they're ours. So at the end of the day, we should have the power and the access to be there for our kids, even if, if we have to go through security checks. There should be no reason why we don't have access to them at all times. And I had a couple of questions regarding the live streams on YouTube, and why are the comments being blocked? Is there a reason why we're no longer allowed to comment on the comments in the YouTube videos and the live streams? Is there a transparency problem? Is there a public opinion not matter anymore? Why has that been shut off for us? So that's it. Have a good night.
Eddie
Ask the
Lorenzo.
question.
They don't want to answer.
Eddie Lorenzo.
They table it for 10 years.
That doesn't make much sense.
Good evening.
No.
I'm also Eddie Lorenzo. I'm here to promote school prayers. As you can see in our signs, we're not only working for the schools, but for our kids and teachers that are suffering in schools. You parents, grandparents out there, you know that our schools are suffering. A lot of stuff that is going on throughout the schools in the United States since 1962, when that woman decided that she didn't want prayer in the schools, and because she didn't want it, nobody else could have prayers in the schools, and that's not right. The prayers from God are there to protect our kids and teachers, And already, when we went to Tallahassee, we had support there. We had kids that were from, I don't know what area was it, they were applauding that we were asking for school prayers. In North Carolina, there was a young lady in college that sent a letter to the governor there stating that they need school prayers. The kids are asking for this, so why not help them? And one of the things that we were doing here is, when we went to Tallahassee, is that they gave us a million petition to request from the voters so we could decide that we want school prayers back. Not government or nothing like that, because they already failed us once, and this time they noticed they did that, and they're gonna leave it to us. And we also, when we were in Tallahassee, there was some representative there that stated that it doesn't go well here in Florida to go up to Washington and present the program over there. And over there it's a lot easier. I don't understand why we don't need petitions in Washington, but we need it here in Florida. So we request that, every school boards, churches support this program, start asking people, because I've been to a lot of churches from Jacksonville all the way to Miami, and every time that I go to the churches, the majority of the people there want school prayers. So just because one or two persons don't want it, why everybody has to be punished? This is God's country, last I heard. So, and this afternoon when the kids were singing, even our national anthem, they took it out because it said the word God, but God is the one who's protecting us. Even our first presidents stated that this country was under God. So why take it out because one person doesn't believe in God, nobody else can believe in God? So the request is, pass the voice on. We need to get school prayers back in schools. So there's already some schools are doing this. So they're taking the initiative and trying to get school prayers. Hopefully they could do it here in Osceola County also and all Florida. Thank you and God bless.
Albert Mendoza.
I'm gonna read an email that I sent to you, Mark, and I sent it to the principal of my daughter's school. It's been brought to my attention, my wife wrote this, because I'll be a little bit more crass than my wife. It's been brought to my attention, my child, one of your 7th grade students at St. Cloud Middle School, of there being videos or movie showings of young adolescents introducing the topic of suicide. This is especially alarming as well as disturbing to know that my child, your student, was the first to know about this before my parental consent. I understand these videos are playing on a weekly basis with no permission slips or acknowledgement letter handed out to the students for their parent to sign, allowing permission or signed acknowledgement. Obliging to such a show that arguably could have an outstanding effect on our youth without the use of parental consent in order to ensure when students get home to parents, further discussion should be required. Again, as often as I receive forms of letters home from teachers explaining the no use of cell phone policy or other handouts or syllabus, I'm extremely perturbed how this wouldn't be something worth asking parents permission for any other form that requires written permission or a signature acknowledgement before our children are forced to watch it. This is a very sensitive topic that parents need to be made aware of beforehand and signed letter of acknowledgement before. Y'all send me all this dumb shit.
Mr. Mendoza, I ask that you.
It's alright, y'all. I got freedom of speech, man. I can say shit. Y'all send me this dumb stuff. You're sending me this over here. Osceola library system. You send me all this dumb stuff all the time. But you're not sending me stuff of showing my daughter some suicide stuff? Nobody's getting consent from parents about this. What y'all doing over here? Like, I don't understand what's happening. Like, who's running the asylum around here? Like, what's going on? My My daughter gotta come home. Thank God my daughter's conscious enough to go, Dad, they're showing me this dumb shit over here. Who's running this? How come I don't get no information? How come nobody's telling me this stuff? I don't understand what's happening here. Like, it's like, I don't even know what to say. I got 27 seconds. I'm gonna make sure this shit is understood. Y'all don't know what y'all doing around here. You're arguing about naming a freaking school. You're teaching my daughter some dumb shit about suicide thoughts. The parents don't even get information about it. What's going on? Who's running the asylum around here, yo? It seems like a bunch of idiots are running shit around here, man. I don't understand it, man. The shit is like it's very upsetting to me, man. Get your shit together.
Angel Lewis Koga.
Good evening to everyone here tonight. Although not on tonight's agenda, I want to applaud Mr. Melendez for making the public aware of the findings of the material that was found and removed immediately because it was inappropriate for our children to be exposed to such material. I ask that the people of the community and everyone at the schools to continue to keep an eye and to speak up as soon as it is seen and to not feel ashamed or embarrassed. I second the gentleman that spoke before me. I agree with him. Consent is absolutely a must, and as parents, it is our right to know what our children watch at schools. And respectfully, I request that the discussion of this matter be brought to the attention of the public to float around ideas on how to prevent it fully at the next school board meeting.
With that, we are on to 13.01, Attorney's Report.
Yes, so I wanted to start by stating that I believe as of 5:19 p.m. this evening, we have found case management software. So we will be working on that contract next week. The original quote that came in was more than I would have been comfortable spending for the license, although it is within the general cost, but as of right now, I believe that we were able to get the license down $16,000. So that will be great. It will monitor not only our in-house cases, but it will also monitor all of our out-of-house cases. It will keep track of the lawyers that are out of house, what they are doing, what they are charging, so that eventually we can figure out everything that's here and figure out everything that we're gonna handle in-house and it will help me create better procedures for hiring outside counsel when we do need it and monitoring what they do on a regular basis. So it's really going to be helpful internally and externally in getting all of our accounting and all of our procedures together and making sure that we're staying on top of everything. In addition to that, I've worked on a plethora of issues this week. One of the things that I'm really focusing on right now is getting through all of the school board policies and looking at what policies are out of date and what concerns I do have. I am going to request that I am scheduled for a board workshop on May 14th so that I can bring to the board what I've worked on so far and receive your input on how to prioritize moving forward at that point. Unfortunately, I cannot do the April 23rd date because I will be out for religious observance and the date before that is already very full. So, and I wouldn't be comfortable going in the February date. So I would like to add to the May 14th date a workshop so that I can move forward in discussing with you all what I've been working on.
At 3 o'clock, are you proposing?
Yes.
And it would just be an attorney update?
Yes.
Thank you.
Is that the end of your report?
Yes, sir.
Can I ask a question next?
Thank you. Madam Attorney, the gentleman's comments that he had mentioned, I would like to address it. Specifically, like when I look at the state statutes that we were given, when we do specifically here, like sex education, the statute is clear that that the parents can request to opt out. But it doesn't look like there's an opt out for the other components of the required instruction according to state statute.
So Mr. Melendez, Florida Administrative Code Rule 6A-1.094124 is the resiliency education, civic and character education, and life skills education administrative code. And that is required curriculum for the state of Florida. And number 6 in that required curriculum is prevention of suicide. Therefore, and that is taught for 6th through 12th grade, and it is a minimum of 5 hours of data-driven instruction in 8 very specific areas, and one of them is prevention of suicide. Because it is required curriculum, it is not something that would be on the opt-out form under the Parents' Bill of Rights as something that we would offer an opt-out for, such as health education, health screenings, or other matters.
Thank you. I just want to make that clear for the record, Madam Chair. I apologize for, we got the paper here, it was attorney-related question. I just want to make it clear for the members of the community, that's not something that we are choosing not to create an opt-out form. The state of Florida creates an opt-out form specifically for sex ed and does not include other things. So if the community feels that suicide prevention is one of those things that need to be opted out, they need to go to the I don't know, that sounds horrible, but technically, this is the wrong body to go to. The state of Florida is the body that needs to amend the state statute to include suicide prevention as an opt-out provision. So I don't want to make it look like I'm not for or against it, but if the parents really want it, they have to go to the state of Florida and amend the laws to make that an opt-out option. Thank you.
Mr. Arguello, you're recognized.
Yeah, Madam Attorney, can we review what is in that suicide prevention curriculum to ensure that it is good? Maybe I have never seen it, I don't know what it is, but if a parent is this disturbed about it, it's worthy of review, instead of kicking it to the legislature, which would be the appropriate lobbying body. Let's review what we have and let's make sure that it's good. It's a good opportunity when the community member comes to just say, we're gonna look at it and watch it and see it. Maybe, maybe we have a double take would be, would honor the request of this particular community member and may be prudent.
Mr. Arguello, it's my understanding that the curriculum is driven from the state of Florida to our counselors and our teachers. However, certainly you are within your right to review and become familiar with any of the curriculum that is provided to the students for the school district of Osceola County.
So they provide it?
I don't know if they provide that exact curriculum or not. I'm not a curriculum person. I know some of the resilience curriculum comes directly from the state. Some of it has wider guidelines, but whatever that curriculum is, that information could be made available to you, and certainly as a school board member, you are well within your right.
I won't get any resistance by requesting that curriculum to look at it, will I?
Dr. Clayton, does it come from the state or is there curriculum?
It's a state-approved resource. They have a few recommendations and this district selected the resource that is in use, and our school counselors, Sarah Schumacher and her team have vetted all of the materials before they go out to the schools for use.
Now, is it and I apologize.
But yes, we can make that available.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Arguello.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Is it a uniform throughout the entire school district, or is it like other parts of the curriculum like we had before where, okay, this is what the school district recommends, but a teacher may have discretion to pull like some kind of auxiliary material to enhance the class?
This is super airtight to make sure that, and that's why the school counselors are involved with sensitive topics as well.
You are done with your attorney comments, Susan?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. We are on to new business, 16.01, Mr. Arguello.
Well, I don't want to revive this dead horse. I think that this is what's going to happen on the next workshop, so I'll just close it.
Thank you. 16.02, Hall of Fame, Mr. Melendez.
Yeah, and this is just a positive thing that I saw, because I was researching other school districts for like different statistics, and Lake County has an alumni Hall of Fame. So whenever somebody graduates from one of the Lake County's high schools and does something significant, you know, some achievement in mathematics or even athletics or music, they have a program where they honor them, or once a year, they sit there and they have like a school district Hall of Fame. And to me, that's not just a token appreciation, but, you know, during one of the FSBA's, we had like teacher recruitment, and they said that alumni have a higher percentage of coming back to the schools than others. So what a way to kind of keep alumni proud than having like a Hall of Fame of people who have graduated from our high schools that have done significant things in the community. And to me, I just think that it's a program that other school districts have done, and I think it's pretty neat for us to consider establishing some of the programs.
Mr. Aguayo, you recognize?
I think that that's a great idea. It's nice to have an honorarium like that. My concern is just being a skeptic and being cynical, not because I was made that way, but because I've been made that way by this district. I would hate for this to become an issue where we're gonna start putting every elected official into the Hall of Fame. It's gonna be nothing but a bunch of backslapping and patting each other on the back, and I would hate for that to happen. So no good deed goes unpunished. You do something like this, and then all of a sudden, God forbid, the people on this board end up on the Hall of Fame.
We'll make sure you're not in the Hall of Fame, Mr. Aguayo.
I didn't graduate from these schools, I know how to write.
All right, then that's it. Just something that the board wants to consider. We just kind of talked about it.
Thank you. I do have one reminder from Ms. Culver that we have some new times listed on the list you have in front of you, board members, about expulsion hearings moving to 9 a.m. instead of 1 p.m. This was done in order to make it better for the administrators at the school to be away from their campuses. It's much easier in the mornings for them than the afternoons. So as long as everyone is okay with that change, we have the new amended schedule in front of us. And with that, the meeting is adjourned.